CKJ Crypto News. Guys, I'm pretty much here to tell you, since the '08 financial crisis, behind the scenes, the government's working on something massive. And I believe that Ripple XRP is the answer to prevent another global financial collapse from happening. They're putting into place right now Ripple technology to prevent this from happening. And I will put two and two together. Let me know what you guys think about this video. So what I'm here to tell you is the FSOC, which is the Financial Stability Oversight Council, was created in response to the financial collapse of '08. Basically, behind that is the birth of the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act. Now, you might as well add Ripple's name on there. Emergency Economic Stabilization Act. It's commonly referred to as the U.S. bailout. Law to purchase up to $700 billion of distressed assets, especially mortgage-backed securities. So we're going to get into this right here. The Troubled Asset Relief Program, TARP, is a program of the United States to purchase toxic assets and equity from financial institutions to strengthen the financial sector. That was passed by the Democratic Party-controlled Congress, signed into law. The TARP program initially authorized expenditures of $700 billion, and this was the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act, created by TARP program. It was signed into law in 2010. Remember this: the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act reduced the amount of authorized to $475 billion. TARP, the United States Department of Treasury, to purchase up to $700 billion in troubled assets. If you go down right here, the authority of the United States Department of Treasury to establish and manage TARP under the newly created Office of Financial Stability. The Offices of Financial Stability became law on October 3rd, 2008. The result, initial proposal ultimately passed by Congress, enacting the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act. So then if you just click on the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act, is commonly referred to as the U.S. bailout of the U.S. financial system, is a law subsequently to subprime mortgage crisis, authorizing the United States of Treasury to spend up to $700 billion to purchase distressed assets, especially mortgage-backed securities, and supply cash directly to banks. The funds for purchase distressed assets were mostly directed to inject capital into banks and other financial institutions, while the Treasury continued to examine usefulness and targeted asset purchases. So that's kind of interesting. The legislation had its origin in 2008. Secretary of Treasury directed two of his aides to write a plan to recapitalize the U.S. financial system in case of total collapse. The plan, which was presented to Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke, called for the U.S. government to purchase about $500 billion in distressed assets from financial institutions. Now, Ben Bernanke, are you familiar with Ben Bernanke? Ex-Fed Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke lauds Ripple, says Bitcoin will be squashed by governments. Ben Bernanke is bullish on Ripple. Former U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke is bullish on Ripple and blockchain payments. Bernanke was speaking at a keynote speaker to a room full of attendees at Swell event and Ripple event in Toronto, and I believe this was the previous year. Bernanke has often been critical of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and just like many mainstream bankers, he is confident the underlying technology. The ex-Fed chair, who led $16 trillion in bailouts of a too-big-to-fail corporation in the 2008 financial crisis, spoke of the current broken payments infrastructure. He highlighted an instance of complexity in sending payments between a German and U.S. bank. It's obvious where area where new technologies like blockchain and these electronic currencies can be used to improve the process. Bernanke picked out Ripple as a great contender, admitting he is aware of the company's work in addressing payments after reading about them. He echoed the sentiments of mainstream bankers of fixing global payments by reducing costs and improving speed and accuracy and reliability. So that's kind of huge. So, yeah. We're going a little bit farther. After freeing up the world's capital markets in the 70s, along with monetized subprime mortgage sold at no risk investments reached a critical stage during the 2008, terrorized by several contracted liquidity and global market creditors. The insolvency threats to investment banks and other institutions. In response, the U.S. government announced a series of comprehensive steps to address the problem, following a series of on-off, case-by-case decisions to intervene or not, which also led to the federal takeover of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers. Now, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, I actually tied BlackRock to them, and then I wanted to see what they were talking about by these mortgage-backed securities. So I kind of ran across this. Mortgage-backed securities, a BlackRock primer. And then they pretty much speak of Freddie Mac, alternative private issuers of whole loan. MBS may assemble mortgage pools of bad debt, bad loans, with credit enhancements through a combination of insurance and senior subordinate and structuring. So this is BlackRock pretty much buying up all these bad debt loans through the government program. That's kind of interesting. The U.S. Treasury proposed a plan. The U.S. Treasury would acquire up to $700 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities. Now, basically, what would happen was the banks saying they basically lent out too much money to bad loans. The Treasury would acquire up to $700 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities. The plan was immediately backed by President Bush, and negotiations began with leaders in the U.S. drafting appropriate legislation. Consulting among the Treasury Secretary was Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Ben Bernanke, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman, and this is going to say it led to the birth of the FSOC, which is the Financial Stability Oversight Council. And where's that one going to be at? Let me just find that really quick. Where you at? Come on now. Let's make this video quick. So pretty much it's going to say that in 2008, this Financial Stability Oversight Council was created. The Financial Stability Oversight Council is a United States federal government organization established by the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, which was signed into law by President Obama on 21st of 2010. The Office of Research intended it to provide support to the council. Now, like I said, guys, on this council right here, you have Stephen, who actually is responsible for this executive order that we will talk about. Executive order right here. The financial system that creates economic opportunities, non-bank financials, and fintech and innovation. So this is massive right here, guys. And before page 10, we're going to tie Ryan Zagone into this report. And like I said, Ripple is named twice in here, and I've tied Ripple to over 30 institutions in this report also. So that's kind of interesting. So when the Financial Stability Oversight Council was created in 2008, and to pretty much harness the power and make sure that we don't have another financial collapse, and they created the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act. And the Economic Stabilization Act, I believe Ripple is their game plan as far as being able to utilize this technology to secure payments fast, to back these mortgages, to back these securities. Right now, Ripple will be used for the settlement of securities and commodities, derivatives, stocks, bonds. This is going to be massive, guys. You know why I know it is? Because right here, the FSOC declares that cryptocurrencies are not a threat to the financial system. Now, basically, this is Steve Munich right here, or Steve, I always mess up his last name. U.S. finance regulators form crypto working group, says Steve. The U.S. Department of Treasury, Steve, on Friday said that the Financial Stability Oversight Council, a government body that assesses financial system risk, has formed a working group focusing on cryptocurrencies. FSOC declares that cryptocurrencies are not a threat to the financial system. Wow. So we're going to try to move a little bit quick here. Now, this is really interesting. Like I said, he's responsible for drafting this report for Donald Trump. But if you go right here, even the introduction of it pretty much clearly kind of explains what direction we're going. Introduction, President Trump established the policy, revamping the financial system. The report was prepared by Secretary Stephen, prepared report. Even if you go to the introduction. Non-bank financial fintech and innovation. Non-bank financial firms play important roles in providing financial services to the U.S. consumer and businesses by providing credit to the economy across a wide range of retail and commercial asset class. Non-banks are well integrated into the U.S. payment system and play a key role, such as facilitating back-end check processing, enabling card issuance, processing network activities, providing customer-facing digital payment software. Non-bank financial firms also play an important role in capital markets and in providing financial advice and execution services to retail investors, among a wide range of other services. The financial crisis altered the environment in which banks and non-bank compete to provide financial services. The government responded to this distress and the unprecedented magnitude of taxpayer support it triggered. So this is massive. What they're saying is they need to implement a plan into play where the financial system is in a much better situation than it was in 2008 to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And guess what? On that Financial Stability Oversight Council is Jay Clayton, SEC chairman, who basically is crypto friendly. Jerome Powell right here, who's on the Faster Payments Task Force, oversees the initiative of the Faster Payments Task Force. And on that Faster Payments Task Force is Ryan Zagone. Ryan Zagone is our Ripple regulator. He's also on the IMF High Level Advisory Board. He's on the Faster Payments Task Force. And he's also in this group that we're going to locate on page 10. When we get to page 10 right here. The Treasury supports a vision of 2020. The Treasury, who we just talked about, supports a vision of 2020, an effort by the Conference of State Bank Supervisors that include establishing a fintech advisory panel to help improve state regulation, harmonizing multi-state supervising process, redesigning a successful nationwide multi-state licensing system. It's an honor to be selected for the U.S. State Regulators' new advisory board, working to modernize the next generation of payments. The CSBC announces FinTech Advisory Panel, its Vision 2020 initiative. Amazon, PayPal, Alibaba, Facebook, they're all on there. And there's Ryan Zagone. So like I said, even before page 10, Ryan Zagone can be connected to this report. And like I said, two big names. They call out Ripple by name twice. There's 30 connections with different entities in this report also. And I'm telling you, it's really all about the future and technology. And they also do talk about these mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage-backed securities, BlackRock. BlackRock ties to PNC. PNC is a Ripple partner. So that's huge, guys. So anyway, I'm going to make this video short. I'll probably end it here. Let me know what you guys think about this video. What do you think about this Emergency Economic Stabilization Act, overseen by the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which he's pretty much bullish on digital currencies from the way it looks to me, bullish on Ripple. It looks like pretty much Ripple's gearing up to be the solution to prevent the next financial collapse. The Financial Stability Oversight Council. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. The CKJ coin will pop up right now. Smash that coin to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.